Hey everyone! So it's been a little more than a month since Jensen's been born, and I'm finally getting around to making this video. And we've been so excited to share this story with you, and I wrote the actual birth story 3 weeks ago, but man, it takes a while to put together a video. So here we finally are. We actually went to church today for the first time, and we're going to be telling you our story. So to start out, I want to tell you that I am not your normal natural birth mother, because I have no problem with having my membrane stripped or having my water broken. I kind of do non-traditional things. So I'm kind of a mix, so to speak. But I do the Hypnobabies program. This is my second time preparing and giving birth naturally with Hypnobabies. I have given birth naturally without it, and it was awful. And I was on Pitocin, and the baby was posterior. And so after going through that experience, I thought, I've done natural, and I want to actually prepare this time. So if you want to read those stories, you can go to mymommystyle.com and search for those. But for now, we're going to talk about the day that Jensen was born. So I was due on June 5th, and I thought that a really cool birth date for him would be 6/1/16. I'm just weird about numbers. I think it's kind of fun to shoot for a cool birthday if you can. My other son was born 11/12/13, and this was kind of the same thing I did for him. So the night before that date, I went to the doctor and had my membrane stripped. And for some people, they say that doesn't work, but I think if you're close enough to labor and that the baby is ready to come, that it can work. And for me, 2 times now, it has worked. So I went, it was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was dilated to a 2. And after my membranes were stripped, he said he got me kind of closer to a 3. So I was feeling good, and he said, go home and have fun with your husband. And so we did that, and around 2 a.m. I woke up and I was having contractions every 3 minutes, and I thought, awesome, this is it. I'm gonna get up and take a shower and put makeup on, because I know that that's not happening in the next few days. So I got up and took a shower and was just getting ready, and by the time I was done blow drying my hair, the contractions had decreased or were feeling like they were gone. So I laid back down, and I was feeling kind of bummed because I was excited about that, but I was also excited because it was still the middle of the night and it would be nice to get some more sleep. So my doctor said that next morning that if I would, to see how things were going and if I was in labor or not, and if I wasn't, that I could come back in and have my membrane stripped again. See, I'm not the traditional natural laborer where I'll just kind of wait and see what happens. I mean, that's good. That's good if you can, but I kind of cheated a little bit because it was a few days before my due date. So I went in, yeah, we kind of cheated. But I was in labor. It did start my labor. And I went in that next morning, and they were about every 7 minutes or so at this point, and he said, okay, come in at 9:30 and we'll strip your membranes again. So we got the kids off to school and oh, bless you. We got the kids off to school, and they had places that they were going.
No, there.
Okay. And here's Jet. Okay, that was our first intermission. So went to the doctor and had my membrane stripped again, and I was at this point to like a 3.5. So my contractions had been doing something, which was exciting, especially because with my previous labors, I didn't dilate on my own, and I had been, I was 30% effaced at this point. So was that the night before, and then the morning I was 50% effaced. You'll have to see what I wrote down, because I swear, with not getting much sleep, and it's been 5 weeks since then, I have kind of forgotten. Your hiccups went away. Yay. So we had the kids arranged where they were going to go. We got our oldest off to school, and then my husband and I it was kind of like having a date. And trust me, when you have 3 kids and you're pregnant with your 4th, being alone with your husband is really kind of nice. So we decided to go to breakfast, and after eating breakfast, I was feeling pretty good. It was about an hour after having my membrane stripped again that I started feeling contractions coming again, but I said, I want to go walk around. Like, I just felt a ton of energy. I was really excited about giving birth, and I will say with my Hypnobabies training that because you think of the training so positively that when the birthing day comes, I'm just like super pumped. I'm so excited. I feel really good. I'm not fearful of birth. And I think that that's one of the best gifts that Hypnobabies training can give you, is to make it so that you're not fearful of that day or of those contractions coming, and you can just feel really positive and happy about it. So my husband and I were laughing because supposedly your birthing partner with Hypnobabies is supposed to have the car prepared. Everything is set out and ready so that the hypno mom can be listening to audio tracks and be really zen and peaceful and everything. And usually my husband is a very prepared person with most things. But that morning he hadn't packed his bag. He needed to go to the bathroom. He couldn't find his shoes, and I ended up packing the car. And so I was just giving him a hard time. I'm like, come on, partner, but I was feeling really good. I wasn't in a lot of pain or anything. So he did his thing, and we finally got there. And after we ate breakfast, we decided to go to Lowe's because we've been finishing our basement. And I said, let's go pick out our tile and a bathroom cabinet. And why not? It's like, we never get to be alone and just go shopping. So we went to Lowe's and we went walking up and down the rows and picking out tile, and I was feeling really good and having contractions. And in fact, my husband was saying, can we just find somewhere to sit so that you can just do laps around me? And at one point, that's actually what we did. He sat at an outdoor seating area, furniture space, and I walked laps around Lowe's while he did that. And so this footage that you're going to see now is when we were starting to look at toilets, and I was just doing some funky moves and having some fun. So that one's next.
Here we are, trying to induce labor, and there's my wife in Lowe's doing all kinds of weird things. What the heck? It says every Lowe's associate. Oh, this guy's weirded out. He doesn't even want to look at. He doesn't even want to look at her because he's like, "That's a weird
It's like when you go
thing."
behind someone and you dance so crazy.
How's it going?
Feeling impatient. I want to get this baby out. Almost dilated to 4, but things are just slowing down. I want to get going. Okay, so as you can see, I was just feeling really good. The contractions weren't bothering me too much. I think at this point they were probably 5 minutes apart, maybe 5 to 6, and we decided to go next door to Petco. I thought they might have puppies or kittens or something fun, and I said, let's go to Petco, because they were just all lined up in a kind of like a strip mall type space. So we went to Petco and we started looking at the different animals, and I was feeling really good, but then I felt like I needed to go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom and my mucus plug had started to come out. So I got really excited because I know that that is a really strong sign of birth, and that I knew it was happening, but just those things happening and that it was progressing made me really excited. So I was purposefully trying to do things to continue my contractions as they were happening.
Here she is, trying to get that baby to come out.
Okay, so as you can see, I was feeling really good. Every time I did that mouse wheel movement, I would have another contraction, and that was really exciting to me. And again, I was feeling really good. I wasn't feeling pain. I mean, I could feel the discomfort. I knew it was happening, obviously, but I was just having a lot of fun and really excited to get the baby out. So next door to that was a store called Deseret Book. We spent some time there, and I chatted with the ladies and told them how I was in labor, and they were all shocked. You're in labor? Yeah, I'm in labor right now. Isn't it cool? And they're like, why aren't you in a hospital, or why aren't you in pain? But I, again, with my Hypnobabies training, was just feeling really good. I was feeling really positive, and I knew that I'd rather be walking around in a shopping situation than in a hospital. It's just a lot more fun. So we went next door again to Costco, and we shopped and we're looking at things, and they actually had a big like portable mat there that I wanted to take to the hospital with me because I think hospital beds are not very comfortable. I almost talked my husband into buying it, but we didn't. And then we found this recliner, and you can see my reaction as well as my husband's to the situation as we were getting closer to heading to the hospital. So we're at Costco, and found this awesome rocking chair, and I'm having contractions every few minutes, but I feel really good, and I just want to keep walking. The end. We should take this home with us. Get a side shot. I really do want a new walker. And here's the proud dad who keeps complaining about his sore feet and that he needs to sit down.
Here. Walked like 5 miles today.
And how long were you? And how long were you up last night?
Feet are contracting.
Your feet are contracting. The pain. He couldn't find his shoes this morning, and he also had to take a big dump. So we had to wait on him. And I loaded the car. Okay, so as you can see, we were just teasing each other, having a good time. And by this point, it was almost noon. So we had been, my doctor's appointment was at 9:30. We ate breakfast around 10:15. So we'd been walking for a couple of hours or so. And my contractions started coming every 3 minutes. And they were starting to get a little more intense. And I was just laughing and having a good time. And so we decided, well, Paul decided it was probably time for us to go because they were getting so consistent. And I was just having a great time. So he's like, "You're crazy, let's get in the car." And so we had to cross from one side of the shopping area to the other. And this is a clip of that moment where you can see us giving each other a hard time. How you feeling right now, Paul?
My wife's crazy. She needs to go to the hospital. She's having contractions every like minute, and she's just like, "Oh, it's okay. Let's go look at the sweatpants."
I need sweatpants. Nothing's gonna fit.
Yakking it up with total strangers, and I'm like freaking out, saying, "Let's go to the hospital."
I'm having another one.
Oh. I swear, if your water breaks in my car, I'm selling it.
Why are we walking across the parking lot?
We have to go get to my car. You know.
So we've been all the way down to Lowe's, Petco, Deseret Book, and Costco.
I feel like I'm about to go into labor.
This one is a little more intense. It's like starting to feel kind of...
Okay, well, do you want me to go get the car?
No.
We should have been to the hospital a half hour ago.
I'm feeling like a champ.
Yeah, you don't feel pain.
Okay, so we decided it was time to go to the hospital, and I was admitted around noon, maybe 12:30, and the nurse that checked me in was one of the head nurses at the hospital, and she didn't believe that I was really in labor, which is really fun when you're if you have Hypnobabies training or things like that, and you're just really calm and relaxing your body, you may not seem like you're in pain or you're really in labor. So she wanted to connect me to the monitor and just be sure, and whatever, that's fine, because I knew that I really was. And sure enough, my contractions were coming every 3 to 4 minutes. And because it was a hospital birth, I had a saline lock put on my hand. Well, I'll get to that actually. So they did a whole bunch of questions, and then they decided it was time to bring in an intern, because I was a mother and this was my 4th time, they thought, let's get an intern in here because it shouldn't be too scary. I don't know. So they came in and asked me the same questions all over again. And this took a good hour, hour and a half. And then they tried to give me an IV. And I don't know if it was because I had been walking and swinging my hands so much, but they could not find a vein. And I kid you not, it took them an hour to find a vein to put my IV in. So they tried on my right arm first and then my left arm second, and then they ended up bringing the head nurse back and putting it in my left hand, which is not comfortable, and blood was just streaming down my hand. And by this point it had been about 2 hours of me sitting in this bed, and I was starting to get really frustrated because up until this point I'd been feeling really positive and really excited and feeling like things were progressing, but as we were sitting there it just felt like it really stalled things, and that was really getting into my mental state. I was feeling really frustrated and emotional, and I hadn't even listened to a Hypnobabies track at this point. I've done them enough that I felt like up till that point I was fine. I didn't really need to listen to them yet because I was so calm and relaxed. But when I got to that point of them finally letting me stand up and move about, that I was just kind of in an emotional pregnant lady state, which is a real thing. And so I told my husband, I just said, I need to listen to positive birthing day affirmations or something and just get my mind back in a positive place where I feel like things are okay, that this was happening and that it was a positive thing. And so I listened to positive birthing day affirmations, and after listening to it for about 20 minutes, I was feeling much better. And I told my husband, okay, I'm feeling pretty good. I'd been walking the halls, and when I would have a birthing wave hit or a contraction, I would lean on my husband and let my body relax completely. And yeah, you talking too? Yeah. So we got back to the room, and by this point my dad showed up, and bless his heart, I love him to pieces, but he was so loud. Because I'll tell you why he was being so loud. He was watching the videos that you just saw, and they're pretty funny. We were having a really good time. So he was just laughing and laughing, but I was getting to the point where things were getting a little more intense. So I put my earphones in and cranked up the volume of a Peaceful First Stage track, so that I could try to focus and just be calm. And then once things started getting more intense that way, we turned down the lights, and finally, after having 3 nurses and my loud dad, love you to bits, Dad, but it was just, I needed to be quiet. And for me, I find that I really can get to that peaceful place if I can just be completely relaxed, and I'm doing it I lay down on my side, so that that's the way that I practice Hypnobabies, so I want to be in that same place. So I'm laying on my side. I have a pillow propped behind my back. That really helps me, and a pillow in between my legs. And at 3:30, my doctor asked if I wanted to have my water broken. And at that point, I decided that I would. And I was dilated to a 5 and about 50% effaced, or maybe 80% effaced. I forgot to say that when I got to the hospital, I was at a 4 and I was 80% effaced. I think that's what it was. But read my post because I can't remember exactly. Anyway, so I was about at a 5 or a 4.5. I can't remember. And he said it's probably going to be a couple hours. So he left. And once the water's broken, that's when I just need to stay put. No more bouncing on a ball, no more walking the halls, no more squats. Like, I am laying down and focused.
I finally got her to come to the hospital, and she's doing great. She's listening to her Hypnobabies right now, and she's had some really big birthing waves, contractions, whatever you want to call them. The doctor broke her water about an hour and a half ago, and she's been progressively getting bigger contractions, but you would never be able to tell because she's just nice and calm, just laying here, focusing on breathing and listening to her CDs. She's having one right now. You can tell by her breathing. She's having a pretty intense contraction because she's really focused and doing a great job. So.
And it was about 2 hours later, at 5:30, that he came to check me, and I was at an 8, and he said, okay, once we get to an 8, things can go pretty fast. And I said, yes. With my last one, it was 10 minutes that I went from an 8 to a 10. So he said, okay, I'll just be right here, you do your thing. And so he went next door. I'm not sure where he went. And sure enough, I had one contraction, and I knew that when a birthing wave comes, and this is strange, it happens to some people, a nurse told me it's more common than I thought it was, but my face and my arms will start to go numb when I'm starting to go into transition. And so with that next contraction, after the doctor had left, I felt my face and my arms start to go numb, and I told my husband, okay, this is happening. Where before my mom was there and she's like, what can I do for you? And I'm like, really nothing. But as I get closer and it gets more intense, touch really helps me. So I have her massage my feet and my calves as I'm progressing in the later stages of pregnancy. And for my husband, I told him once I hit transition, you need to be in my face and helping me with those relaxed cues. Just remind me, just get in my face and remind me, because for me, once I hit transition, for a moment, I feel like I'm going to die. And I knew that because I've gone through that before with my other babies, that your mind kind of goes fuzzy, you're not quite sure what's going on, you feel very desperate. I think that's a good way to put it. So my face and my arms started going numb, and I said, this is happening. I'm starting to go into transition. I moved to my back because I knew this time I wanted to be in more of a sitting up position, because I wasn't with my third baby, and I did not like that. That's one thing I really wanted to be able to change, was to be in a better position and to be able to communicate what I needed so that the people around me could really help me. So this time I sat up in the position. I had the state of mind to be able to switch tracks to easy pushing out track, or whatever that's called. And by that next birthing wave, I started to feel pressure. And I asked the nurse and my mother, so my mother was holding one leg and the nurse was holding the other. I said, please press against my legs. So my legs were up, but I was kind of sitting, and that really helps relieve the pressure as you're pushing the baby's head out. And so when I felt that pressure, I said, is the baby's head there? Because I could feel that transition happening, and they were helping me with the pressure against my legs. And before even getting that full answer, I was already pushing his head out, and the doctor wasn't quite ready for me. My husband said he wasn't even there yet. He had to grab his tray from the hallway, I guess. But it really happened so quickly that I was already pushing the head out. When you're going natural and giving birth to a baby, there's no stopping it. The body reacts to it almost the best way I can think of explaining it to people who haven't experienced it is it's like a reflex, almost like vomiting, like where it's not controllable in a way, like your body needs to do it. And so I was pushing the baby's head out, and his head came out, and they said, okay, hold on. And after pushing that first time, I got a Charlie horse in my foot. And I told the nurse, I have a Charlie horse, rub it right there. It's the top right foot, rub it right there. And for me to be able to express what was going on and what I needed was a huge win for me, because with my last one going natural, I couldn't verbalize what I needed very well, and my body felt very heavy. And so this time going into it, that was one thing, a goal that I had, was that I could verbalize what I needed. And so she was able to help me with that Charlie horse, and they had me take a beat so that they could twist the baby's head and get the shoulder ready in preparation for the next push. So once they did, they said, okay, you can push when you're ready. So I took a deep breath and waited for my body to tell me again. And then I pushed. And then I pushed one more time, and he was out. And they were able to place him right on my chest. And it was just the most beautiful moment. And my mom was there just sobbing. And she said that was one of the most amazing experiences of my life, because she was right there with me, holding my leg, and she helped me deliver this baby. And my husband was awesome, and he got up right in my face when I needed him and told me to relax and encouraged me, telling me I was doing a great job. And for us, as far as the Hypnobabies training goes, we find it's better if I just listen to the scripts and have him there kind of helping me to focus rather than him reading the scripts, because it like was comical to him and that just didn't work for us. But he's really good at just encouraging me as we went. And he clipped the cord for the first time. He'd never done that before because he gets a little queasy, but we kind of pressured him and I said, just do it. Look what I just did. So he did, and he actually had to bend over because he almost passed out. But he did it this time. He clipped the cord and they were able to put the baby right onto my chest. And it was just a beautiful, happy moment. The baby was super healthy. It was really calm. In fact, he wasn't crying very much at all. After about, I don't know, 15 minutes, who knows? You never know how much time has passed. But they took him away and kind of rubbed him up so make sure he was nice and pink, and gave him back to me, and we just hung out like that for probably, I don't know, 30 minutes. And sorry, I'm distracted. I'm staring at him. And it was just such a beautiful moment. It really felt like if there was anything, I mean, pregnancy to me is not great, but that birthing experience, I couldn't have imagined it being any better, because I have been through having an epidural with my first, hoping for an epidural the second time and not getting one, and not being prepared to go natural, using Hypnobabies the third time and really liking it, and having a Hypnobabies birth the fourth time and loving it. It just, each time has been so different. After the baby was born, the doctor, this is the only thing that I didn't love, is that he did pull on my, you're making it shake. Sorry, my son is getting closer and now the camera's shaking. He did pull on my umbilical cord and my placenta, and that was pretty painful. And he hasn't done that before with my other births. I don't know why he did that this time. He's an awesome doctor, but that was the only thing that was really super painful, was that part. And then I did have a little bit of tearing, so he did have to stitch me up a little bit at the end. But it was just an awesome, amazing experience. And if you're interested in Hypnobabies, hey Jackson, you're on the camera, you're making it shake. If you have any questions about Hypnobabies or you want to read about my experiences, you can do that at mymommystyle.com. And I am an affiliate of theirs, so if you want to buy their products, I get a little piece of that, but that's not why I'm an affiliate. I'm an affiliate because I believe in their program, and I think if you buy one, I get like 20 bucks or something. It's not like this huge chunk of money or anything, but I believe in Hypnobabies. And you know what? I don't know if it's a perfect fit for everyone, but for me, it was pain-free until transition, because I will say, once you're pushing the baby's head out, it's a different kind of pain or contraction. So when people say pain-free, I believe that it can be, but everyone processes pain differently, and for me, it was a great, awesome choice. And if you want to do the epidural, I think that's awesome too. So anyway, that's our story, and if you have any questions or you want to reach out to me, please feel free to. I really love to share my experience to be able to help other people, and I think someday I will be a Hypnobabies instructor or a doula, but right now I just don't have a lot of time because I'm doing my babies and focusing on that. But I hope that this video helped you. Honestly, for me, having a natural birth, the thing that helped me the very, very most was listening to other women's experiences and hearing that birthing can be a beautiful, exciting experience, and that it doesn't have to be scary, and that, you know, things can happen, and the goal is a healthy mom and a healthy baby, and however you can get there, more power to you. So have a great day, and we're glad to share this story. Say bye.